to our YouTube channel, and in today's video I am going to start my tutorial on tunics. After my last video I did say that my next tutorial will be on tunics, and I've whilst doing my research realised that really it will be too long to put into one video. So today's video will be part one, which will be talking mostly about the colours used by the German army, mostly upon their tunics, but that also applies to their caps as well. So before we go into the video, I just want to clear up some housekeeping from the last video. I finished off the last video by telling you all that I was off at the weekend to the National Karate Championships in Sheffield, and fortunately came back with 2 silver medals, so I was really pleased with that. For those of you that are interested in what goes on in my private life, really pleased with how I got on there. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was the documentary by Peter Jackson, which was called They Shall Not Grow Old. Now, a lot of you must have seen it on TV, but I didn't know whether any of you noticed in the documentary section of the film where he's talking about how the documentary of the film was made, if any of you spotted one of my books, Military Mode Publishing books, published by me. You see Peter Jackson referring to the book, he's holding the book on screen, so we were really pleased to see Feldzug 17 being used as reference for that documentary. This is available on the Regimentals website and also on Military Mode's website. Really good reference work of the First World War. The other thing I wanted to mention before I go on to the tutorial is we're really looking for people who are willing to take part in the YouTube videos. We always have visitors come and see us, or we're doing deals all the time, and it would be nice if anyone is interested in sharing what they have or talking about their interest on screen with me, so we could do some kind of collab or a YouTube video showing someone's collection. That would be really good. If you're interested, get in touch. The tutorial. As I said, I realised that going into the tunics and explaining them, even the basics, is going to be a really in-depth process. So what I thought I'd do is start by explaining to the beginners the colours seen on tunics. And that also applies to the piping upon caps. Each branch of the army had a cavalry unit or a transport unit, and each individual branch had its own colour designated to that unit. Obviously you see it on the shoulder boards, the colour, you see it on the collar patches. And I'm just going to very briefly run through those colours so you can watch this video back, you can make notes and you can memorise the units, so that when you're at a show or on someone's website, you can identify what the tunic or what branch the tunic was used by when you see it. Okay, so the first colour I want to talk about, which is possibly the most popular amongst collectors, is pink. So everyone recognises pink on tunic, shoulder boards and on caps, and the pink represents Panzer. The next one, which you see, is apple green, and that is for Panzer Grenadier. Whilst we're talking about green, I want to mention this colour on the shoulder board. It's called mountain green, and it's associated with mountain troops. Now what you have to be careful of is there's a very similar green, it's slightly darker, and that is for administration. So they're your first 4 colours I want to talk about. Pink is for Panzer, apple green is for Panzer Grenadier, mountain green is for mountain troops, and the darker green, which I don't have an example of here, is for administration. Okay, so the next colour to mention is black piping. Now black piping is used for pioneers, or as some people call it, engineers. The next colour is white. Now this can be slightly complicated because most people assume that white piping is for infantry. Well, that is correct, but as I have mentioned in a previous video, white piping is for infantry, except when it comes to Afrika Korps tunics and Afrika Korps shoulder boards. White piping on Afrika Korps shoulder boards represents a special unit called Army Flak Regiments. But for their basic collector, yes, white is infantry. The next one is the yellows. So this is golden yellow, quite a deep rich yellow, and that is for cavalry. And the other yellow is what we call a lemon yellow, and that is for signals troops. So then we have an interesting colour you don't see very often, which is called copper brown, and that is for reconnaissance troops. This is an SS shoulder board with reconnaissance copper brown piping. That's quite a hard one to find. And the next one is a shade of blue called cornflower blue. This is for transport troops. This is also an SS shoulder board. So you see the cornflower blue piping there. So one of the rarer colours, which I don't have an example of here, so I can't show it to you, it's known, or we call it carmine. It's a form of pinky red. Carmine was the colour used by general staff or general staff officers, but it was also very similar to another carmine type colour, which was used by veterinary troops for animals. So they're the two I can't show you here. It's carmine, a very, very rich red, pinky red, and that is for general staff and for veterinarian troops. Another of the colours, which is another rare example, I don't have one here to show you, is grey. So it's dove grey, like a soft grey, almost silvery, and that is for propaganda troops. This very, very dark blue is for medical troops. This shoulder board here is for it has a very, very dark blue colour piping, and that was always for medical troops. Medical piping is usually very, very dark, a very true blue, and it's not to be confused with the next colour I'm going to show you, which is on this cap, which is chaplains. As you can see, this is a chaplain's cap. It has the chaplain's cross on it, and the colour is purple. But a lot of people see these two, medical and chaplains, and they get them confused. But when you put the two together, you can clearly see the difference between medical and chaplains. Okay, so the last three colours I wanted to talk about was quite a common one. You see it a lot, which is red, true red, and that is for artillery troops. Then there is, shown on this shoulder board upon a tunic, is Fel Gendarmerie, police, and that is orange. And then lastly, I wanted to show you this one. It's a cap. I think I might have shown it in my last video, but I'm using it again just to show you the colour. The colour piping on it is Bordeaux red, and that is for smoke troops or naval warfare. Quite a rare colour. You don't see it very often. So that's my the start of my tunics tutorial. I know I've shown some caps, but really the process was to guide you in what colour shoulder boards are used on the tunics and what branch of the services it represents. Be aware, when it comes to looking at Luftwaffe insignia and Luftwaffe tunics, there is a completely different format of colours. So that can something that I can show you later down the line. This is just about the army tunics. Okay, so it's nearly time to update the website. We're updating on Friday around 2 o'clock UK time. There's lots of nice things on there. Some of the stuff I showed you on a previous video are being uploaded, a lot of the tunics and caps. I wanted to show you something that will possibly be on next week's update, a very rare dagger. On the last video I showed you an SA dagger with a partially erased Rohm inscription, and I wanted to follow that up by showing you an even rarer dagger. This is an SS model dagger. It's a model 1933. I can identify it as an icon and tell that by the elongated neck on the eagle. But what's nice about this dagger is when you open up the blade, you can see it has a full Rohm inscription. So a Rohm inscription upon an SS dagger is an incredibly rare piece. This dagger will be on our website for just under £9,000. You will struggle to find another one of these on the open market anywhere. Yeah, as I was saying, I can see now its icon. After years and years, you get to identify all the small features like the shape of the neck on the eagle, and you can identify what makers things are without even finding the maker mark. When you look closely at the pictures, you can see the deep inscription. Sometimes these inscriptions are faked upon daggers. What's nice about this one though is it has the original soldiers' identification numbers there, so with a bit of research you can identify who this was belonging to. And this dagger really is only one step down in rarity from the SA and the SS honour daggers, which obviously are ultra rare. Really nice thing. we're really pleased to be able to show this off to you. Okay, so our next show we are attending is coming up next week or next weekend, which is Kassel in Germany. We will take some footage of the show, we'll show you our table at the show in our next video, give you a little insight into what goes on in the shows in Germany. Christmas coming up, I wanted to mention to you, believe it or not, we do get quite busy at Christmas, so if you're thinking of ordering something for yourself for Christmas or a Christmas present for somebody, you want to get your ordering fairly quick because shipping and postage at Christmas time is always a bit of a nightmare. So we will be doing more videos every week leading up to Christmas. We will follow up next week with the second part of our Tunic tutorial, and as I said before, updating the website at 2 o'clock on Friday. So don't forget to look on the website www.regimentals.co.uk. Also, please remember to like this video and subscribe. We're really trying to push the amount of people that subscribe to it. I know it's a bit of a pain in the bum for you to actually subscribe, but that's how we know how popular the channel is, and we're really trying to get as many as we can. So follow us on Instagram and Facebook and on Twitter, and I'll see you next week for the next video.